Good day, me mateys. Welcome back to Two Maesters podcast. And today, we are doing a special Pirates of the Caribbean movies and also Pirates history as well. And it's our fabulous hosts here, myself, Morgan, and Josh. How you doing today, Josh?
Good, me hearties.
Oh, yes, we've been waiting for that. And what's that I hear? We have a special guest on board today. Special guest, would you like to say hello?
If you like pain, try wearing a corset. It's me.
Keira Knightley.
It's Keira Knightley.
Pretty.
Oh, Keira. How are you doing, Keira?
Yeah, it's good that there's visuals, otherwise people would be very confused that Keira Knightley's here.
Yeah.
No, it's me, Esther. How am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm good. I had a really disappointing cornflake cake, but other than that, I'm pretty good.
You said it was a Rice Krispie cake.
Did I?
Oh my
So
God.
sorry.
I'm
harvesting fake news. Can I confirm? It was a cornflake cake.
Okay, audience, to our wonderful audience members, we can confirm it was a cornflake cake, not a Rice Krispie cake. No need to comment about it.
Just a quick question. What does a cornflake cake look like?
Oh.
Well, you're looking at cornflacks mixed with chocolate and put in some cupcake cases. Is that chicken?
Oh, like in school, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, with chocolate, those were the bomb. You still get them these
I
days.
believe I spent £1.30 on a tiny little stale cupcake.
Oh, don't worry, this podcast will make up for it, hopefully.
Sad.
So, here we are, Pirates of the Caribbean. I think this is probably the wackiest subject we've spoken about so far. I mean, we've done House of the Dragon, we've done Rings of Power, we've done Star Wars, we've done Dune, we've almost done The Witcher. We'll talk about that another time. But Pirates of the Caribbean, probably the campest one of them all. Let's start off with just a little bit of information about Pirates of the Caribbean. So what do you two think to this? So on Wikipedia, they describe Pirates of the Caribbean series as an American supernatural swashbuckler film series.
I mean, big fan of the swashbuckle there.
Aren't we all?
I think the genre starts off quite roguish and handsome, and then sounds like a kids' entertainment situation right there at the end.
It does, yeah. I mean, because we were talking about this before the show, weren't we? That there's Pirates of the Caribbean's PG-13.
Yeah.
You said. I mean, do you think that's a correct age rating? We're not that kind of review board, but do you think Pirates of the Caribbean's PG-13 and not maybe like a 15?
Possibly. I think the issue is like major movie studios were like, you know what, we need to get rid of the 12. That's why no more films come out as a 12. It's either like it goes from like PG, PG-13,
12A?
and then PG-13/12A.
Yeah.
So Americans have PG-13, we have 12A, and then it goes to a 15. And I think like slowly but surely they've just kicked the 12 out the window.
Damn right.
Because I remember like watching films and they're like, oh, this is a 12, but then you don't see films that are 12s anymore.
Oh, I would say I feel like this is an interesting rating because I would say it's bang on because I really transitioned from a 12-year-old to a 13-year-old during the film, in which I was, it was my awakening.
Really?
Just seeing that billowy shirt, all that man jewelry, I really, I was a woman.
Well, is this why you got the pirate hat as well? Is that when you realised you were a pirate?
Yeah. I don't want to intimidate your listeners with like how attractive I am right now.
Don't worry, you intimidated them when you're talking about the cornflake cake.
Absolutely.
That was enough. You shouldn't be allowed to see a 15. So there's 5 movies in the Pirates of the Caribbean series.
Yeah.
I can't believe there's 5 actually. I mean, we got Curse of the Black Pearl in 2003, Dead Man's Chest in 2006, At World's End in 2007, On Stranger Tides in 2011, where, to be honest, I think it started to go very downhill. And then Dead Men Tell No Tales in 2017.
They shouldn't tell any tales, should they, if you've seen it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. Scientifically speaking. I've definitely forgotten which one's the Davy Jones one. Is it this one?
that you fear death.
Perfect. So
I mean, come on, you can always hear the tentacles coming.
exactly, that's why I think it should be a 15.
Yeah.
So what of those movies have you seen, Esther, and what have you not seen?
So Curse of the Black Pearl, I've seen about 52 million times.
Same.
And then same goes for Dead Man's Chest at World's End. The other two are like, the problem children you don't talk about.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Oh,
Definitely,
You're like, at family dinners, please stay in your room. We don't talk about you. You're a disappointment to the whole family.
Well, yeah, story of my life. Thanks, Esther.
Yeah, sorry, I'm triggered.
What about you, Josh?
I'm just going off Esther's point. It's like they have really good characters in the fourth film, like the guy playing Blackbeard,
Stranger Tides, yeah.
Shane. You've got like Jeffrey Rush's character, the fact that he's no longer a pirate, he's a privateer, so he's working for the government, which is a cool angle. But like they had the characters, but just the storyline was just lacking.
Well, they're also missing. I swear, Keira Knightley wasn't in it. Nor was Orlando Bloom.
Neither of those two were in that film.
Well, they probably just realised that they've seen it. They've made enough money. Like they're just tired of being on screen for more than 3 movies. I mean, that's a lot for any movie series to get into. I mean, look at Star Wars. That kind of went badly when they did too many movies. I wish I still had that button.
I added an extra button in there live.
Did you?
I did.
No, you
I
did
gave
not.
you a little sound effect. Do you want me to do it again?
Yeah, please.
Okay, I went, wah, 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 wah.
There's a reason why I'm in charge of the buttons, Esther, not you. That's what I'm saying. So let's talk about our favourite characters. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys could guess which one mine is, but let's hear yours first. What's your favourite character, Esther?
I don't just want to pick the one I fancy the most. I feel like Barbosa.
What? Who's the one you fancy the most?
Well, I mean, Jack
Barbosa.
Sparrow. I don't want to be obvious, but I really fancy Jack Sparrow. I feel like
quite pretty.
Quite. I now I don't know. This is too much information, but I started my period in Madame Tussauds whilst meeting the waxwork of Jack Sparrow. That's when I became a woman. So obviously, no, we don't even need to really unpack that too much, but
I think that's great.
Oh, thank you. I would say that Barbosa, because he feels like I shouldn't fancy him, but I do.
But he's so old.
Different set of reasons, and I still went back to I don't know. He's very like authentically roguish. He has a strong hat game.
His hat game is pretty good. Yeah.
Like the hat is the most important thing. If he's not being convinced by other pirates, bartering with him or like trying to convince him of anything, he will not be convinced, and then they'll offer him a hat and he'll be like, yes, please.
That's true. I do quite like him. Who's the guy who plays him?
Jeffrey Rush.
Jeffrey Rush, yeah, does it so well. Like the accent and everything, like the way he talks, like when him and Jack Sparrow are like both trying to captain the Black Pearl at the same time. It's like, what are you doing, Jack Sparrow?
What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
That's not good enough.
Yeah. Great. And like the poison apple thing he had at first going in, I don't think it was a poison apple, but
wasn't
there's
poison.
There'd be no use in killing you now.
Exactly. Rewatched the Black Pearl recently. I guess it wasn't a poison apple, but just some reason he
just
loves
mad for
apples, doesn't
apples.
he?
Yes, he does. And I think also just with his character, the fact that he has this kind of like presence when he's in every scene that you kind of feel like he brings more to the film, especially with like his accent, his swagger, the fact that he is a lovable rogue. And like in the first film, he's full on villain.
Yeah.
But then in the later films, you see that, okay, then he's partly a villain, but you can then when you learn about Captain Jack more, you're like, I can't understand why he stabbed him in the back, and the crew did as well. And
Well, when they mutinied against Captain Jack,
in the beginning of the first one. And I think linking to like the Jeffrey Rush character, I think also the fact that you see his story change within the films. Like you see him like in the first film as the bad guy. He's then also a semi-good guy in the second film. And then he's a good guy in the third film, but then still...
I mean, he's only... You mean Captain Barbosa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's
he
only in
comes-
the second
he
film
comes
at the
in-
end.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, is that why he's semi? Okay,
Yes.
fair. yeah, I guess it's not. He just comes in and bites an apple, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I
well,
think, like,
it's a good
in the
move.
third film, he becomes like the character who says what you're thinking. Because, like, when Will and Elizabeth say something really like
I look quite pretty.
when they say something really cheesy, then Barbosa will be like, "I'm a little busy at the moment." And they're like,
That's
you
not
know,
good enough.
Yeah.
It's true, and he marries them as well, and on Stranger Tides as well.
He's a multitasker. We love it.
Yeah, he's a ordained bishop apparently as well, which is what every pirate ship wants. Did you say what your favorite character was, Josh?
I think I might be getting his name wrong, but is it Mr. Gibbs?
Oh, yeah.
Basically the pirate historian throughout the whole series. Like, if you need anything up to date about the lore about Pirates of the Caribbean.
Mr. Gibbs, remind me who he was.
He's the one that has
Oh,
some
the
really
white-
slamming one-liners.
Oh yeah, he's just a great character in himself. Yeah,
Slap me thrice and hand me to me mummy.
yeah. He's always the one telling tales. Like when they're talking about Davy Jones, I was just watching Dead Man's Chest when I'm talking about Davy Jones and Davy Jones's lockup. He's like, "Arr, the Kraken, its breath stinks of 1,000 rotting corpses." He's like, he's made to
Like
just
me
tell
when
tales.
I have a hangover.
Or you like right now.
Me right now, I know, darling.
God, I wish this room had better air conditioning.
That's not good enough.
And I think the
Very,
fact
very
that,
fine.
like, as I said, like, he's the encyclopedia. Like, anything you don't know about pirates, he tells you. Like, he tells you the backstory about, like, Will Turner's life. He tells you the backstory of Jack. He tells you the backstory, as you said, about, like, Davy Jones.
Yeah,
And I think, like,
he's the plot filler.
the consistent character who basically helps people understand, like, what the lore is in the Pirates of the Caribbean universe, and also what the situation is at the moment.
Yeah, I could see that. He's kind of like the narrator. Well, not really a narrator, but he just like fills in the audience, as you say.
Yeah.
He's the unsung hero. I don't know why he didn't get nominated for an Oscar or anything. Like,
And
he
his
was great.
first name is Joshamy.
Joshamy, what?
Yeah, his first name is Joshamy.
What, the character or the actor?
The character. His name is Joshamy Gibbs.
Joshamy Gibbs.
Yeah.
I've never heard him called Joshamy in it.
Look it
Neither
up.
did I. No.
No, you spend too much time Wikipedia. Yeah, I'd say my favorite character probably has to be, well, it's kind of two. It's that, you know, there's two pirates, one with the
those
eye
two,
missing and the other one with the long hair.
The guy that's in the office, the UK office, that guy.
Yeah, he is. What did you say their names were?
That'll be Pintel and Rigetti.
Is Pintel the one in
Rigetti's
the
one with
office?
Rigetti's the one with the fake eye.
Ah, right. Rigetti. Wow, such an elegant name for like two absolutely nonsensical characters.
Sounds like an Italian dish.
Yeah. I like my Rigetti with eyeball, please.
Yeah, they are great. Like, I feel like they have such a iconic bromance.
They do. Don't we all want that bromance? That's what me and Josh are trying to go for. But my older brother, also called Josh, tried to swoop
in, get in the way.
Yeah, it was not cool.
No, halfway, take a few steps back.
No, that was the wrong button. Don't know what that button does. Let's not use it next time. Yeah, very cool. And then when they dress up as they go from such transformations in the Curse of the Black Pearl, they're just normal pirates at first. Then they dress up in Elizabeth Swan's clothes
I look quite pretty.
to like fool the British redcoats and stuff. Then they dress up as like British gentlemen at one point as well. Like just those two and their outfits and their faces, just something about them is iconic to me about Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah.
And you love man love.
Man love, yeah, it's true. It's true. Man love's okay, you know. We're there for each other.
So I just realised that I feel like they're mirroring the other two sailors who are like in a bit of a couple. You know the sailors who are like stopping Jack Sparrow from getting on the ship in the first film?
Oh, the two British sailors. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. That's another bromance there. Yeah.
And
It's a lot of bromances.
I think they might be even the third film where they're fighting on the ship, and then they realize they're losing. They then go in, change into pirates gear. At the end of the film.
Legend behaviour.
I know that's true. I forgot about that. You know, when we think about Pirates of the Caribbean, I think it's quite obvious that the first movie, well, to me, the first movie is the best. Second movie I thought was really good. Third movie, good, but just not as memorable. I don't know why, but it was interesting because you know, it's Pirates of the Caribbean, but they go to Singapore in it, you know, East Asian. We forget, like, a lot when we talk about pirates, we're always thinking of the Pirates of the Caribbean. Even before the movie came out, we're just thinking of them going around the Caribbean, looting Spanish ships, etc., etc. But we've got to remember there's also East Asia, and I hope the 6th movie, when it comes out, will be that.
Yeah.
Pirates of East Asia, maybe.
The score's lovely when they go there. They have like I don't even know what what is that like instrument where you crank it?
There's a
Come on, guys.
crank,
Not
a
sure.
crankophone.
I think I remember because I've listened to the soundtrack. And there's one of the songs which is called Singapore. And I
Yeah.
remember hearing in it, but I think the score for Singapore, and fans, if you want to listen to it, it's probably going to be on YouTube. That song is like really amazing.
I haven't heard it.
Yeah,
It's like
very cool.
It's like very like Oriental traditional music to begin with, and then comes in with the drums and then the string instruments, especially like to show off like the fighting scene, and then goes back to the Oriental theme at the end, and it's like a really good meld of both of them together.
Oh, that's quite cool.
Zimmer.
Who's amazing. Hans Zimmer's amazing.
I know. We're going to have him on this show as a guest.
I hope so.
For sure. That's definitely going to happen.
Yeah, he's waiting for your email to come through.
I know.
He's just refreshing the emails.
I was waiting for me. Oh, if only. Yeah, I mean, we got to talk about the soundtrack. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, the main key theme, like me and Esther remixed it earlier.
Do you fear death?
God, I am the worst. I should not be allowed to sport. Was it this bottom? Enough of that. Shut up.
I mean, it slaps.
It does.
Such a
Oh,
banger.
I know.
It
So
does.
catchy. It's like, in a way like Star Wars, everyone knows the Binary Sunset song. Lord of the Rings, everyone knows A Knife in the Dark. And then everyone knows the Pirates of the Caribbean one as well.
Or even like the Harry Potter one as well, the one that they always play at the beginning of the films. It's like people remember that. And like
It's a motif.
and it's like it is very clever the way that they use it. Like every time you hear that song, you're like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And like it's weird because you hear it like I went to a football match in Milan and they were playing that at the end of the game, and I'm like,
Sick.
that's amazing. Like they actually have this at the end, and then it just reminds you, oh, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, it's always going to be linked to that. And I think if people playing it at a football, I don't think you'd see Star Wars at a football match or Lord of the Rings, but if you could see Pirates of the Caribbean soundtrack there, that's fantastic. Like, and Hans Zimmer, oh, what a god. Yeah, really good. Very like catchy, iconic, I'm surprised it didn't win an Oscar for it.
You can really like sabotage someone by just like starting to sing it, because then they have to sing along / have it in their head.
Yeah,
for the rest of the
that's
day.
so catchy. I know, and there's quite a few mix because that song's sort of a medley, isn't it? The like you got He's a Pirate, that's one song. And that one's like starts off with like the what do you call those things? A boom, boom.
Oh,
Or is it? I can't remember.
banana.
How does it go again?
You mean a harmonica?
Yeah,
Yeah, the harmonica, that's it. Yeah, it starts with the harmonica. When Captain, in the first film, he's coming in, it sounds all epic. It's like, duh, 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 duh. And then it's like him standing up at the crow's nest. Then you just look down and see the ships. Like, that is all that remains of the ship. And he just lands at port.
It's
great scene.
incredible way to introduce a character. All the information is there.
Do you think Captain Jack Sparrow is the best pirate in the world or the worst pirate in the world?
I think both. I think him being both. Like, I feel like I'm in some ways the best and the worst person in the world. Therefore,
You are the best
the
person.
best person in the world.
The hat's going to you. You're not in charge of this.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Like to your point, like he kind of is both, and I agree with Esther on that point that in his lowest moments, like especially when he was trapped on that island with Elizabeth in the first film, when he's like
I look
looking
quite pretty.
for the rum, and it's like I give up on this.
Where's the rum? Yeah. Oh.
You see him at his worst, but then when you see him, like the fact that he had the wherewithal to pick up the coin before the fight with Barbosa at the end of The Curse of the Black Pearl.
Yeah, that was
so.
quite
Then when he
clever.
actually did get stabbed, it was fine and everything was fine. And the fact that he changed the scene so that they would be ready to shoot. So when he shot the gun that went through Barbosa, it would hit Will Turner's hand and he would drop the coin inside the chest, which would then kill Barbosa. So you kind of have the best side of him where you think, is he a genius? But then you then see the worst side of him and you say, is he just lucky?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that seems quite lucky. He could have easily just accidentally shot Will as well. I'm like, oops. And Captain Barbosa was like, well done on that one.
I would say he's kind of like Mr. Bean in that Mr. Bean is like a raging shambles, but then he always manages to fix a situation in like a weirdly genius way.
Yeah,
that's
in
true.
An interesting way.
Kind of almost out of luck, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I feel like if you have a really polished hero like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible.
I look quite pretty.
I mean, Keira Knightley is all polished.
Yeah, if you have like a really polished protagonist like that, you kind of watch them more to be in awe of them. But then if you've got someone like Mr. Bean, can't believe I'm comparing Mr. Bean to Jack Sparrow. But like with them, they're so chaotic that you're like, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me. And then so when they triumph, it just becomes more interesting, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Because he's so clumsy. You see him at like his worst, but then when he finally gets on top, it's like, wow, this is the best pirate ever. Like, especially when you think about like the action sequences in Pirates of the Caribbean and the fight scenes are just insane. Like, especially in like the second one, Dead Man's Chest, where they're all fighting on like a rolling
the part of the windmill that's then come down there, and it's just going round and round. It's
almost like me and the friend we've both seen it a million times. This is the first time we watched it together. We're like, it's almost like a slapstick comedy.
Oh yeah,
the sort of action. It doesn't take itself too seriously. Yeah, it's kind of taking a piss out of those classic action tropes in a way. Although, I mean, the amount of people that get shot or stabbed in it and there's no blood, I mean, that's where they're trying to PG-13 it, I guess. Yeah. Okay, if you had a dinner party and you had to invite over 4 people from Pirates of the Caribbean movies, who would you invite and why? I know exactly who I'd invite.
Fear death.
Davy Jones, definitely. He'd be like the intense one sitting at you know when you got a rectangular table, he'll be sitting at the end just like off key, just saying horrible things, and that everyone just kind of like awkwardly going silent. Like it'd be really out of tune with everyone else. That's one of mine. What's
He'd be
yours?
smoking out of his tentacles, and everyone would be like, "Jeez, like
not at the table."
Yeah, not at the table.
And then bemoaning that, Calypso left me. How could she leave me so?
Oh, he's going on about Calypso again.
Take Davy's whiskey away.
That you fear death.
Actually, sorry, but that reminds me, we didn't even talk about Davy Jones' organ playing when we were talking about soundtracks.
Yeah. Oversight.
Yeah, so cool, very gothic as well.
Also, like the track combines the music box with the organ. So the music box is like a tiny little pretty sound, and then it combines it with the organ, which is like the biggest instrument.
Yeah. Oh, so
good.
cool. If I was a pirate, I'd definitely have an organ like that on my boat.
Of course you would.
Yeah, of course you would. Yeah. Okay, so dinner party guests. Go for it.
Calypso, I would say, actually.
Yeah.
Nice.
She is so cool. Like,
What if she gets really big?
Well, I'm not afraid of a big woman.
No, too fair say. Well, good point. I mean, just when she gets really tall.
We can make a stack of 10 chairs for her to sit on if she gets really big.
I guess you'd have to eat out.
Accommodate.
This dinner party would have to be al fresco, then I take it, unless you literally live in an aircraft hangar.
I mean, that could happen. As well.
No, yeah, true. Okay, next 3.
You want me to ask of all of the 4? Okay, so we've got Calypso, Davy Jones. They would have
Isn't
to
that
sit
a bit awkward? Yeah.
Yeah, they'd have to sit at different ends of the table, but I also
That you fear death.
I do love to be on the front line of a gossipy scandal. Do you know what I mean? So having them both there would be interesting. Oh God, I have Barbosa.
Yeah, but then I feel like he'd be really critical of your food. Like he'd try your apple pie and he'd be like, "That's not good enough."
An apple pie for Barbosa. You know, Barbosa, he can't get enough apples.
He does.
Is mad for them.
Pink ladies, he just loves them.
And then also the maid from the first film that's like, what about that lovely Will Turner?
Yes.
She said what we were all thinking.
Yeah, and then when Elizabeth turns on, it's like, you speak out of turn. And that was me thinking Elizabeth was like kind of down to earth or like a governor's daughter, but then she gets actually quite like stiff upper lippy there in that moment.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because she's like, I could go for like pretty boy Orlando Bloom. However, a roguish pirate's about to like kidnap me, and so I need to leave room for that.
Wow.
Actually, there was for a period a love triangle between the three of them.
We love
Until she
triangles.
stabbed him in the back at the end of the second one when the Kraken's coming and they realize the Kraken's coming for Jack, and then she's like, she pretends to kiss him but then ties him to the ship.
Oh
so
my
then the
goodness.
Kraken
What
then
do you
I
mean
forgot about it.
pretend? I've rewatched that scene many times. That's very much a real kiss.
Well, but there was no love in it.
That is true.
I just don't. I think she was very keen for that kiss as a very like.
I look quite pretty.
Yeah, there was so much tension on the ship leading up to it. She wanted it, and you know what? I think that's why she is a smart one, because she was like, "Oh, I did it for pretense reasons. I love Will, but actually, you know, like it's like before people get married, and I want to sneak in that little kiss before I get married.
Yeah, that's true.
You know."
Well, they were supposed to get married at the beginning, because I swear at the beginning she was supposed to marry Will.
Yeah.
But then he didn't turn up because the British came with that. I can't remember. What's the name of that? Not Commodore Norrington. What's the...
the other guy, yeah.
Tom Hollander.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
the-
No, Tom Hollander. No, is that right? Tom.
Isn't that Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Oh, my thing of Tom Holland.
Tom Holland is
I
Spider-Man.
Not even
think
good.
what you will appreciate is that the names are quite similar. It's something quite similar to Tom Hollander. But
British
it's
actors, mate, all got the same names.
Spider-Man turned up.
Bill Turner. Yeah, I love him. Yeah, he's like, the immaterial has become the immaterial. He's so quintessentially British in it, the way he speaks, and all bad guys
It's
have to be
just good
British.
business.
Yeah, it's just good business. East India Trading Company. Okay, who would you have over for your dinner party?
So I'll take probably 2 guests from Esther's list. So definitely bring Barbosa.
That's not good enough.
And I was actually thinking the reason he likes apples, because I read recently, and also my sister told me that a lot of the pirates were from Cornwall. And like even Blackbeard was Cornish.
Is that why the Cornish Pasty Company have a logo of a pirate on
Yeah,
it?
I believe so, yeah.
Right.
And like
Penzance.
at one time,
Yeah,
I think,
Pirates of Penzance. Oh,
and like
crap.
they said, like at one point, like Cornwall was its own like pirate kingdom within the UK. I think maybe like during either Henry VII or Henry VIII, and they tried to rebel against the government then. But then also like Blackbeard was from Cornwall.
Yeah.
So potentially,
Edward
and
Teach.
Cornwall has like a lot of apples and cider. So maybe that's the kind of like link they're trying to bring to Barbosa, that he is from Cornwall. So he eats apples. He loves apples that way.
I have a mate from Cornwall. I'll ask him what he thinks of apples. I think that would be a good test.
Do you think Barbosa would have been a fan of the Apple products? Would he have had an Apple phone? Do you reckon?
Thinking,
We're going to get sued for that one, thanks, Esther. No, we're not. Well, maybe we will.
well, being a pirate, I think no, because I think it would be hard to pirate on an iPhone.
Well, I mean, we have electronic pirates today. I mean, who says Barbosa isn't tech savvy? Maybe he knows Python. Arr, what is this coding doing? What does this one do? No. Okay. Well, I haven't sworn yet. I'll save that for later. Okay. So we've got
Barbosa, and then also take Calypso as well.
Calypso.
I'd
Nice.
also bring Jack as well, because Jack has a relationship with Calypso, and so does Barbosa, because Calypso brought Barbosa back to life. And Calypso was trying to get Jack to do the right thing for the whole of the second film, and he's
Right.
been running from it. And then also the dynamic between like Captain Jack and Barbosa. The
Oh, yeah.
that are they frenemies, or do they really just hate each other?
I
so
think old
bitterly?
married couple. I'm feeling old married couple, like they just can't do without each other.
Yeah.
But also they just can't stop bickering constantly.
And then the last guest I think would be tricky. I think I would probably take Mr. Gibbs, just because he'd make sense of everything and like make sense of the different dynamics and different relationships.
And explain everything
The,
to
the
you. Yeah.
arguments, like, why is Calypso and Jack arguing? Oh, because he was supposed to do the right thing but did not. Oh, why is Barbosa and Captain Jack arguing? Oh, because both want to be captain. So, and you need at least one sane person at the party to explain all of the mayhem that happens.
Are you saying you're not the sane person at that point? What is your role in this dinner party, Josh?
Well, inviting two of the most deadly pirates,
Yeah.
a mythical being to a dinner party might not be too much in the same department.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a good point. And you,
I reckon like Mr. Gibbs would like if there was an awkward silence following a little row, he would just make like the best comment to sort of cut the silence. He'd be like, "We're rolling me in sesame seeds. Call me Susan. It's time for dessert."
yeah, he'd tell great stories, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Kind of person where you don't have to like make conversation if he'll just make something up.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, that's our dream dinner party. Oh, I didn't finish mine, did I?
No.
So I said Davy Jones. Obviously, got to have Jack Sparrow and Barbosa there. But I think for a wild card, we should throw in the Kraken as well. Like the Kraken's the one at the party who arrives really late with a bottle of wine. It's like, oh my God, sorry, just the traffic and the wife and stuff. And I don't worry, take a seat. And then starters get served and it's like calamari and the Kraken just freaks out like that. Yeah, that would be a bit messed up.
He was really keen for a beef Wellington.
Yeah, aren't we all?
Aren't we all? The Kraken would like eat not just the dinner on the table, but also the guests. Are you aware of
There
his
you
work?
go.
Well, apart from Davy Jones, if
That's true. Yeah,
and
Davy
then
Jones would be
does-
chill.
how much control does Davy Jones have over the Kraken?
I don't actually know because you never actually see Davy Jones and the Kraken in one scene, do
Kraken
you?
live in his ship.
Yeah, where does it get released from? You know,
Yeah,
he's like,
that's
summon
true,
the
actually.
Kraken, release
Yeah.
the Kraken.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, good point. This is why we should have all done our research. Well done, guys. Well done. But speaking of research, I know this is something we're all not too familiar in. How much do you know about the actual history of pirates?
I actually think that Pirates of the Caribbean is factual. Our Lord and Savior Jack Sparrow, he lived
With his jar of dirt.
Yeah, he did.
What does this button do?
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Okay. Just checking.
How could you cut us off like that?
No, sorry. It's just
music.
making me anxious. I got all these buttons. Like,
What I enjoy about this little theme that we did is it goes on for like a little bit too long.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
a bit
really
awkwardly
love
long.
that for it.
anyway, what were you saying?
What was I saying?
You saw me just slightly move my finger towards the
Knocking
button.
at the door.
I don't hear no knocking. Sorry, we can edit this out. Let me have a look. We can edit this out. Lol.
Or keep it in. It might be the best bit.
actually be the
It might be Hans Zimmer.
No, I don't have one. Do you guys have a spare charging plug?
The USB.
It'd be like this one. Oh, I see what you need. We need something else. Yeah, sorry. We need to get back to the recording. We don't. But, okay.
What a pirate.
Oh, that must be Davy Jones.
What were we saying?
Real life pirates. Real life pirates.
Real life pirates.
Real life
So,
pirates.
what do we know about pirates? Anything? First thing that comes to your head.
Funnily enough, I do know a bit just because I play like Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Nice. The best source of information.
And I think the cool thing I would say about pirates is that first, they weren't pirates. And it's a whole the whole West Indies thing is really weird. So Christopher Columbus arrived in the Americas. And then when he came back and other Spanish explorers came back, they spoke to the Pope and said that we found this new land, put it in writing that no other Western country can go out to the Americas. So then the Pope writes down in an edict, and because the whole of like Western Europe is Catholic, they have to abide by what the Pope says. So then they say, okay, then no country can go to the West Indies or the Caribbean. So then what happens is that they then signed privateers to disrupt the Spanish and to steal gold from them, to steal sugar, steal
Spices.
rum from them, spices from them. Because as a government, the British, the French, the Dutch, and other countries within Europe couldn't get involved because of the papal bull. And then that's what the funny thing about history is then with the dismantling of like Germany moving away from the Catholic Church, and then you've got all the things that King Henry did as well. Because they broke away, they were like, well, we're no longer adhered to the Catholic Church. We can now send people over. And then that's when pirates then started going in full out. But then they realized like the Spanish/Portuguese had literally taken like Cuba, Jamaica, Trinidad, parts of, Florida, a lot of, and Arizona, New Mexico, all those places. So then they realized that they'd actually have to like fully invest. And the weird thing is like they then sent privateers, they then came themselves, and then they signed like an edict, I think in the 1700s, like making privateers illegal. And that's when pirates became pirates, because they're basically the French, the Spanish, and the English, the British, who all had privateers, basically said, you know what, no more privateers. We're going to all sign a deal to say we don't have them anymore, and just made it illegal.
That seems like quite a dumb move, because the privateers probably have a lot of booty.
Yes.
Powerful ships already that they're...
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, they've got lots
A lot
of...
of junk in the trunk.
They've got a lot of junk in their trunk. They've got powerful ships. They're already in the Caribbean, and people are like, well, we just put you out of a job. You're no longer sanctioned. But then what are they going to do, you know? That's like...
Seek revenge.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the weird thing was then they were like literally pillaging, stealing, robbing, and then they actually had to employ like pirate hunters. So you kind of see it in the film.
I want to watch that film.
You kind of see it in parts of the Caribbean film where the guy that Elizabeth's supposed to marry at the beginning of like, the first film, he then becomes like a pirate hunter.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
He then tries to hunt down, and then in the second film we find out that he crashes into a hurricane and gets wiped out, and then that's why he was on, what was that place again?
Tortuga,
and wanting to kill Jack because he basically messed up his life. But yeah, and like the weird thing about the whole thing with pirates is that a lot of their treasure still hasn't been recovered, just because that they
buried it.
They buried it, and literally most of them just killed everyone who had access to it. So then some people are saying that there are probably islands in the West Indies and the Caribbean where there's tons of gold, where no one knows where it actually is because of the remoteness, and because all who knew where it was were either killed or technically have died.
That's fascinating, actually. If I had enough money to like actually build a boat and be able to sail it with a crew, I'd actually go looking around for that gold. That'd be
Part
great.
of the ship, part of the crew.
Which one was that? Was it this one?
Part of the ship, part of the crew.
There we go. Part of the ship, part of the crew. That's interesting. I do remember hearing about that on a podcast, that basically pirates were originally privateers. So in English history, we have like Sir Walter Raleigh.
Yeah, who was a privateer.
Yeah, he was a privateer. Basically a pirate before he was a pirate. He literally would like raid Spanish ships, kill people, take their gold. But yeah, he's quite like revered in British history because he founded Virginia and all that stuff. One thing I did hear about pirates is they're actually surprisingly really democratic, despite what goes on in movies, which is true to an extent. Like mutinies were always a thing. Pirates drank a lot on the job, and discipline would be a bit hit and miss, but they were all voted quite democratically. When you got loot or booty, they'd all share it out equally as well. Actually, I don't know whether it's equally. I think the captain might have got
his share.
First among equals share, shall we say. So, pirates were in a way somewhat like ahead of their time socially, because everyone was quite equal on about women could serve along men, although that probably wasn't always accepted, knowing just, the times.
Yeah, and I think to your point, like two of the most famous pirates, Anne Bonny, and I've forgotten the other person's name.
Blackbeard?
Not Blackbeard. I believe that's her name. Yeah, that they were very, very famous pirates, and they were both women. And the fact that I think the thing that to your point, people were more or less treated equally within the pirate circle, because as a captain, you literally can't trust anyone, because if you mess up, someone will try and replace you. So you always have to appease your crew. Appease, like, for example, a good example of this would be Treasure Island. So, like, the Long John Silver.
How long was John?
So he was like he was a quartermaster in his pirate crew. So he had a sphere of influence. So basically he would give people the weapons that they needed to fight with. He would maintain their weapons. So he had a relationship with the crew. So then pirates would have to basically be like, okay, this person's important. that person's the navigator, that person's important. I need to appease each of these individual
There's a lot
people
of
and
politicking.
the crew. So I can't be too much of like Jeffrey cannot beat this out, of a bastard, because they'll just replace me.
No, we go. Got it right eventually.
Yeah, and like
You nailed it.
like with like society at the time, because people were like ingrained in a position. So like if you were like an admiral, someone couldn't really just kick you off because then there was a full chain of command. But because everything was like fully illegal and literally you're there with cutthroats, with people who know how to kill, you have to, as you said, appease them, give them their own share, of giving them a right to vote as well. And
And the politicking that's going on as well.
Well, now I just want you said about like women being allowed on the ships, but then there seems to be a theme in not just Pirates of the Caribbean, but then also Pirates, like the Aardman one. I think it's called The Pirates. Like there is a female crew member, but she's disguised as a man.
What, is that, sorry, the Aardman? What?
Yeah, the Aardman film, The Pirates.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, they had her character's called like the suspiciously curvaceous pirate, and she's got a big bushy beard.
But it's funny because in Pirates of the Caribbean, I think in the second one, Elizabeth Swann, she disguises herself as a male pirate, and no one on that ship seems to notice. You know, when she pretends that there's a spirit of some dead wife haunting it, it's like, well, people must have been blind back then. I mean, in those times, a splinter would kill you. Like any cut, you'd get infected. Like people probably had terrible eyesight as well, and it probably stank on pirate ships.
Yeah, it probably did. Yeah.
She does a proper Mulan move where she's just like, "Oh, I'll just make my hair short, and no one will know."
Yeah, the classic Mulan move. Yeah. And you know, pirates, I guess, you know, you get them in the modern day as well. Piracy hasn't. I mean, there was the golden era of
Would you
piracy.
steal a handbag?
Yeah, I wasn't even talking virtually, but that's true. You got pirates of the 7 webs, I guess. You know, the 7 internets.
There must be a button for that. What you just said.
I look quite pretty.
That's my favorite button. I think that's just brilliant, Esther. Well done on recording that earlier.
Thank you very much.
If you were on a pirate ship, what would your role be on that ship and why?
I think I would be the one that plays the accordion when times are really tough.
The entertainer. Is there that's not a proper job on a pirate ship, is it?
It is. Look it up. You know, but also I just wouldn't be able to sense the tone. Like everyone would be having a sword fight that's like very life or death, and I would just be there with my accordion, keeping the beat. Yeah, very crucial. Yeah.
For motivation, okay, fair. For the morale of the
Nothing
ship.
practical is basically my point. What I'm trying to say is I don't think, although my dad was a sailor, but I don't think I would be able to do anything practical on a ship. I would just look pretty and play the accordion.
You'd be the siren on board, just singing, just luring other ships.
Oh, yeah.
What about you, Josh? What would be your role on the ship?
For me, I think I watched there was a TV show that was really good that was on Amazon. I think it's been removed, called Black Sails.
I watched a little bit of it back in the day.
I think the reason I like it is because they have actual pirates in it. So that's when I found out about like Anne Bonny being an actual pirate, Jack Rackham as well. But they also have like pirates that are part of Treasure Island. So they've got like Long John Silver's in the TV series. So is Captain Flint, who's the actual captain and the main captain in Treasure Island that you don't end up seeing at all because he dies and then kills everyone who knows where his treasure is. And like at the beginning of the first episode, he's on Long John Silver's on a ship and they're being attacked. And like he's trying to find somewhere to hide, and then there's the cook, and the cook says, "Why aren't you trying to hide or run away?" And he's like, "Well, I'm the cook." Why are they going to kill a cook? They know they need to have good food.
Yeah.
So that is probably the best position for me, is to probably either be the navigator or the cook. So therefore, less fighting, less stress for me, but also
you're useful.
So they're less likely to throw you overboard.
I think so. I was actually going to say chef as well, because I mean, even though the food's pretty crap back in those days, you know, it's a use. Like you're probably not in a fighting role. You're just there making snacks whilst everyone's cutting each other up on the poop deck.
And also, when I watch Pirates of the Caribbean, I'm slightly distracted by wondering like who's doing the upkeep of the beaded braids. Now, I would nominate myself to
the hairdresser for Captain Jack Sparrow.
Exactly, like because like also the eyeliner is just always on. Like, at what point is Jack Sparrow stopping en route to a fight and getting out his little compact mirror and like putting his eyeliner on?
That's true.
That is true, yes.
There must be a pirate makeup artist.
That's true. Well, I mean, creative license and all, but yeah, I mean, Captain Jack Sparrow does look very dashing in it. You know, Elizabeth Swann as well.
I look quite pretty.
Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, with all these movies, I find that in any TV show or Hollywood, certain characters don't age. They always wear the same clothes that never get dirty. People look fabulous just coming out of the water, just after coming out of the water.
That makes me feel incredibly violent when someone just looks really sexy after like being in wind and rain. Keira Knightley is like a key person for that in Pirates of the Caribbean. Like her hair looks freshly coiffed. Doesn't matter how many knives she's put through people. And like going through a maelstrom, she'll turn around and be like, you know, makes me angry.
Well, it must have had you on her ship in that case.
Yes, well,
quite. Yeah. Again, living in those times, very difficult, very different from now. And, you know, looking at pirates these days, totally different story as well. Some similarities, though. So listening to this podcast earlier, it's funny to talk. Well, we're a podcast about pirates, but I wasn't talking about a podcast about pirates.
A Russian doll of podcasts.
But pirates would tend to, a lot of things they misportray in the movies, especially in Pirates of the Caribbean, is it looks like pirates have big ships in it. They go, bigger the ship, more guns, more likely they'll capture other ships, take them down. Actually, they use smaller, less ships with less guns, but they were faster. That was the key thing. And that's something they have common with pirates today. So you see a lot of pirates, they just use like literally like motorboats. All they got to do is just get on an oil tanker. As long as they get on it quickly enough. I mean, again, and they're not exactly attacking warships because, you know, that wouldn't turn out well in the modern day. But again, it was about speed. It wasn't about having bigger guns, bigger booty, bigger ship. It was about speed in that sort of scenario. And, you know, I don't know how you guys are with seasickness, but some of the speeds they were going up to, I was literally hearing like you'd be really well sick about it. Do you guys get seasickness at all?
No.
Oh, well.
We'd be excellent pirates.
Yes.
Let's go get that gold.
I guess I'd be the only one who's a bad pirate.
Oh, darling.
Darling.
I mean, I could have guessed that about you, that you're a seasicker. I really could have done.
I know. I'm just built to be the one person in a survival movie that dies first or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel like I'd be, if I was on a pirate ship, I'd definitely be me for sure.
I'd let them have me. I'm too lazy.
So enough about me. Enough about me and my insecurities. So, what would we say were some truly memorable scenes from the movies? What really sticks in your mind?
I think
That's not good enough.
I think the best scene from the trilogy was it the Commodore or the Admiral when the ship's literally blowing up around him? He's just walking down the stairs, everything's blowing up.
Yeah,
and I think he was his line just like, oh, it was just business.
Yeah,
and it's like he's just having a meltdown, like. The fact that Davy Jones's ship and the Black Pearl have both surrounded him on both sides and now firing at him. Everyone's jumping overboard. And he says, it's just good business. And he's just walking down, everything exploding, people going everywhere, but nothing happens to him. He's just still walking down. Bits of wood flying everywhere until like the end where everything just goes boom and then everything explodes.
Yeah, that's a really cool scene actually. Especially because he's the bad guy and he just finally gets his comeuppance in the end. Because he was in it for like 2 movies as a bad guy, well, I suppose so was Davy Jones. Yeah, very cool scene. I mean, so unrealistic because like if that ship's blowing up around him, like all these bits of wood and shrapnel that flying out, he would have got lacerated. Like that was a bit like in reality, pirates would like so many of them just die from lacerations and infections from that, and such a dirty time as well. here we go, me banging on about how dirty things were back in the day.
They should have had a cleaning rota.
Yeah, exactly. Who's not been scrubbing the poop deck? Any memorable moments for you, Esther?
Oh, this stresses me out because it's just like, I just can't like kill my darlings, you know. But I mean, we mentioned it already. But I do just think there's something incredibly iconic about Jack's arrival in the first film.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, because like, it's a moment that builds when he arrives, you think he's on the top of a massive ship. And then the joke is that he jumps down and it's this tiny little dinghy. And then the joke is further because it's also running underwater.
Leaking, yeah.
And he only just makes it onto the platform. And that is exactly, like the film is telling you what it's going to give you later. Like, that he like looks ridiculous, but then comes out looking clever because he just makes it. Even when you think he's not gonna, he makes it. And also has a weird style about how chaotic he is.
Yeah. His jar of dirt scene as well. That was really good. I've got a jar of dirt. Yeah. It kind of takes the seriousness away from it. It kind of shows, like, I like his character because it's like, let's not take these pirates too seriously. Like, we've got these amazing action sequences, but then Jack Sparrow is just like so klutzy and clumsy, but also so amazing and brilliant. You see, like, it doesn't take itself too seriously. I don't like it when movies do that. There's got to be like some comedic elements. I've got to admit, there's a lot in Pirates of the Caribbean, but I think they did it really well with Jack Sparrow. I think another good scene is in At World's End when he's like in Davy Jones's locker.
Oh yes.
With the crabs and stuff. That was just, you know, he needed a monologue by himself where he can just do Jack Sparrow things. Like, fantastic. I think for me, a favorite scene of mine has to be just any scene with Davy Jones in it, but especially when he's playing the organs. Like, that is so gothic and cool. And sort of style for Pirates of the Caribbean, they really do appeal for that gothic sort of darkness. Like, they can't just do it. They couldn't have just done it about pirates. It has to involve something supernatural. So, Curse of the Black Pearl, they're all like undead zombies who can't die. I don't know what you'd call Davy Jones and the ship. What was his ship called?
Oh,
the Flying Dutchman.
Flying Dutchman.
Yes,
yeah.
He's a cursed sailor. Like, she's cursed him, that's why he's got tentacles.
Calypso.
Yeah, she cursed him.
Right, and then everyone on his ship is also becoming like fish people.
Yeah.
I think he was about to die, and then she gave him a mission to help like sailors who were dying to go to the afterlife. But then he's like, I've got a powerful ship. You know what? Forget that. I'm going to rule the seas. And then that's when she then cursed him and his crew to start look like him having like an octopus head, some of them having like crustacean parts all over them.
Yeah.
So I think that's when she cursed them because they weren't doing what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, well, you know, when you pay someone, you expect them to do what you pay them to do.
She's so cool. The best of the women scorned.
I look quite pretty.
She does, though. I've talked way too much about fancying people, for God's sake.
Well, I still can't forget the trip to the wax museum.
Surprise ovulation. Anyway, can I do an honourable mention?
Go on.
To like best scenes, because I think like you mentioned that it's a very camp film, and we're there for the mandrillery and everything, but like I do think the facial expressions of the actors, you can tell those actors are very accomplished because of whenever there's a close up, the facial expressions are bang on. Like with Barbosa, when he dies in the first film, and he says like, "I feel cold," like. In the mix of that face, it's almost like relief, like he can feel something because he spent all that time
not eating anything.
A combination of different things going on his face, and like even with Mr. Gibbs, sometimes you'll see like sympathy on his face.
The acting all around is pretty good.
I would say so. Yeah,
I thought maybe Orlando Bloom is a bit wooden.
Yes,
but don't know, I'm not really a good I wanted to be an actor when I was younger, so I feel like I still can't really criticize actors for being bad, but yeah. You were saying? No,
I was just saying, another honourable scene. is the one with Barbosa. I feel like, well, you know, because I've seen the film so many times, and normally in my house will like watch it at least 8 times.
I think I've watched it with you once at least.
I'm pretty sure. Hungover.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those scenes where, like, if it's a film everyone's seen so many times, they'll sometimes have a little chat, replenish the snacks, whatever. But like always that scene, everyone's silent for. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't matter how many times you've seen it.
Yeah, it's pretty good, that scene, actually. We were watching it recently. I really liked that acting in that moment, actually. Yeah, he actually feels something for once. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so we've clearly only really spoken about the first 3 movies. Yeah. Why have we not spoken about...
highlight moment.
Did we not?
Oh, no, I said the end of the third film when everything was blowing up. Yeah.
Yeah, with the evil British guy. I can't remember his name. Great actor.
British guy, that's all we need.
Yeah, I mean, is it hard for British people to play British people in these historical dramas, just going, oh yes, the pirates, oh good heavens.
You can also see it kind of like in Game of Thrones as well. Like,
oh yeah,
I think when people, a lot of British actors were like, oh, they've got American TV series based on British culture. Oh, perfect for me.
Yeah, that's true. They love to get in British actors, something, because even if it's not like the typical posh British, like the Lannisters, you get like sort of northern British accents, which I guess, because I remember hearing Sean Bean's so recruitable as an actor because his Sheffield, I think he's from Sheffield in the north of England. His accent is so charming. It makes you feel like you trust him, and he's an honest man. Man, he's just an accent, really.
He could be come over for some beans on toast.
Sean Bean's famous beans on toast. Oh, I know, and he dies every 2.4 movies. Like, there's some figure I looked at a couple of years ago. It's probably changed since then because he's died a lot more, but he just dies a lot. Imagine that being typecasted to just die in a movie.
How did we get from Pirates of the Caribbean to Sean Bean?
Very easy. Game of Thrones, classic link.
And technically, you could say that the Greyjoys are pirates as well. So
they are, yeah. I mean, Vikings as well. I mean, I guess the difference, because is a pirate still a pirate? Pirates attack places on land, like you see that in Port Royale in the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, but I mean, Vikings essentially are pirates, just because they're probably attacking people at sea as well as in land.
Yeah,
good point.
And like a weird thing I found out recently, Julius Caesar, when he was younger, was kidnapped by pirates.
Oh, really?
And held hostage, and like for a long period of time, he wasn't with his family when he was younger until they actually were able to. I think either they paid the ransom or they were able to free him, and then he then went back to his family.
And then by that point, it was too late. The pirates already influenced him too much.
And that's where that turned into his bloody ways later on in his life.
Maybe, yeah, could be. I mean, that's such a cool character development story. It's almost like it was written by Hollywood. Like, that's so cool. Wow. So, we've spoken a lot about the first 3 movies. Why have we not spoken about the 4th one? What are the thoughts on Stranger Tides?
I think like the backstory of like being the Fountain of Youth was good, but I think the way that they played it, they could have done better. Like I think the key thing that was very clever that they brought in was that the King of England, the King of Britain, George the 4th or the 5th, was getting old and wanted to have the Fountain of Youth so he could then become young and then rule forever, and that he's now got he's enlisted Barbosa as a privateer, and then
he looks so funny in like a proper British accent when he's trying to speak proper as well,
and then brings in Jack Sparrow because I think they brought him in because of his compass, that it can point to whatever the person wants, so that's why they roped in Jack Sparrow, which was like a really good start. And then bringing like Ian McShane in it to play Blackbeard was also a very good part of it as well. But then it kind of felt like they didn't develop it enough. Like they could have done more to like show off Blackbeard's character, show off the fact that it is literally, the film's basically a chase to the Fountain of Youth. You've got Blackbeard who's going there because he wants to live forever. You've got the British who are chasing after him. Then you've got the Spanish who are chasing after them. Like if they could like build on that dynamic of like the chase between all 3 of them trying to get to the place, I think it would have made a better film.
Yeah. To me, it felt very like they were just milking Pirates of the Caribbean because first of all, 2 of the main actors had left, and they were quite central role in it. You know, their sort of
Yeah,
love
yeah.
story. Captain Barbosa marries them at the end. I don't know if they even mentioned them in On Stranger Tides.
No.
I mean, I've only seen it once, and also there's mermaids in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose that this is American supernatural swashbuckler movie?
Yeah.
But I just thought the mermaid thing was a bit. Well, I guess it's sailor mythology, isn't it? So it's good they put it in.
The mermaids are fair, but I feel like if they'd been woven in the style of the first three, it would have been fine. Because I feel like the recipe was good for the first three, of like camp and also sincere action. But then I don't know what it was about the the last two. I felt like it was too much like watching a film. The others, you kind of just revisit the world.
Yeah.
And then when you watch the fourth and the fifth one, you're like, oh, I'm watching a film. I'm watching Disney's
What you mean?
Money.
Do you mean the third and the fourth one?
No, the fourth and the fifth one.
Oh, Dead Man Tell No Tales. Okay.
For me, the first three feel like they're off the same world, but then the fourth and the fifth, something's not quite right.
Yeah, you have a point. It kind of feels like, like the first three are like a trilogy within the world, but then it seems like the fourth and fifth are like, if you could change the actors, change the names, they could be a complete separate film.
Yeah, exactly. I would have preferred it. I don't know. Maybe they did a prequel or something rather than just getting rid. Well, maybe not getting rid of Will and what's her name again?
Elizabeth.
Will and Elizabeth Turner. Rather than getting rid of them
When you
and not mention them.
calling me Elizabeth, I look quite pretty.
I just love pushing that button. Yeah, I think I would have preferred that than them just like deleting two characters and not mentioning it. Although I will caveat, I should probably rewatch On Stranger Tides before, because we have billions of audience members, Esther. One of our billions of audience members might correct us on that. So, and have you seen Dead Men Tell No Tales, Josh?
No, I was planning on watching it, but then just didn't. But then it is on Disney Plus, so I'm thinking of going to watch it.
Yeah, you've seen it.
No, I have not seen the last one. I've seen On Stranger Tides.
Ah, right, okay. I feel like that's homework for all of us. We can watch Dead Men Tell No Tales and then
let's do it.
possibly have a part two.
Eat some apples.
Yeah, we'll bring apples and stuff. Why not? Actually, going back to On Stranger Tides, that was another thing. Again, with getting rid of Will Turner and Elizabeth Turner. I don't know why. They replaced them with basically the budget Will Turner. You know that guy who's like a priest or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
That whole, I think that's another issue that I had with it. Like, it didn't really make sense. Like, why would he, like, their whole relationship, like, why would he then, I understand that he was shot and he was dying, but then why would he then just go off with her after seeing what all the other mermaids did to the other people? Like,
and that's where the whole trick of mermaids is, to charm someone into the waters and then they kill them. And it's like, how do you know she's different? Like, she could just be like all the others. Like, no, she's different, man, I swear. Yeah, I know. And I can't remember much about the soundtrack, to be honest. Again, I watched it so long ago. This is why it's important for us to do our homework before we come on here. But I'll give it another watch soon.
But I feel like I'm like myself, I'm happy to like keep to the first three. I feel like I don't need those other films.
Yeah.
There's nothing about them.
I don't need them.
I don't need them. I'm not hankering.
But I want them.
It's like having a fourth donut. I'm full. Don't need one.
Like, to your point, like, I was listening to, this was years ago when it first came out. This guy was just saying, I think it was BBC, the person who does like the review for films?
Mark Kermode.
Yeah. He was basically saying like the fourth Pirates of the Caribbean film was like the fourth Indiana Jones film. Like, you have a really good trilogy with Indiana Jones, but then you bring in the fourth film and then people are
That's
like...
not good enough.
It's not good enough. And the fact that it kind of feels outside of the universe and outside of like the whole Indiana Jones lore. And then you kind of feel like that with the fourth Pirates of the Caribbean film, that it is, they had a perfect trilogy. They linked the second film to the first, they linked the third to the second and first, but then the fourth film comes in and there's very little links to the first, second and third.
That's a good point.
It's a very good point.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, actually. Yeah. because that Indiana Jones, what Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, just didn't feel right. It wasn't anything mythological about it. It said it was about aliens, which I thought that could have. I actually kind of liked the idea. It just in execution just didn't feel like Indiana Jones. Didn't feel good. And by the way, they are also bringing out another Indiana Jones movie. So
coming out, I think this June. Yeah, June this year.
Yeah, I'll still watch it just for nostalgia's sake. By the way, we should talk about Indiana Jones on here as a special episode, because that. Again, what a great soundtrack. Who did the soundtrack for that?
Williams.
John Williams. John Williams, Hans Zimmer, and the guy who did Game of Thrones soundtrack. That is like the winning trinity in the world.
They can get in my basket.
Get in your basket.
Add to cart.
Add to cart.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there's also, I said that earlier, but there's also yet another movie, the 6th Pirates of the Caribbean movie coming out, I think sometime this year. Let's see. Oh, well, you can tell I'm done my homework when I've got Wikipedia up on the other. The most trustworthy source.
Are there like pirate themes are yet to be plundered?
I think to Morgan's point, like the actual Indian Ocean pirates, like pirates to do with like Japanese, Chinese, then you've also got Vietnamese pirates, you've got also Indian pirates as well. That would be a good thing to follow, especially the fact that they did go to Singapore, and Singapore was actually a key port for like the whole region, especially when the British went there as well with so you had East India Company, so you could literally do pirates based out in that area.
Sorry, I'm not swiping on Tinder at the moment. I'm literally, because my friend, she was telling me about a Chinese pirate that Zheng Yizhao, who was like one of the most famous Chinese female pirates in history, who basically managed to like run rings around the British as well as like the Chinese imperial authorities at the time. That would be good. You know what? If they go in that direction, I'd be keen to watch that.
But then it wouldn't be Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, that's true. They still call it Pirates of the Caribbean, but it's just set in East Asia.
Because that's the I've got a chocolate hobnob in my throat.
Do you fear hobnobs?
I currently do. Yeah. But in the third one, when they have the meeting of like, is it the 12 pirates? Gosh, I can't remember. And then they have the pirates from different parts of the world attend the meeting.
The pirate. What was it? The Pirate Kingdom? What do they call it? It's like the code. What's this code? They have like a place they can meet.
And they, what was it called again? Pirate. It wasn't the Pirate Court. It was something else.
Oh yeah, and they elect Elizabeth Swann as like Pirate Queen.
Yeah,
they elected a Pirate Queen. Yes.
Yeah.
After, didn't she like make like a huge and passionate speech about why they should help out Jack Sparrow and Davy Jones? After all of them said, no, we're not. Like, you lot are crazy to go after this man.
I know. Actually, I remember the exact words for that speech.
I look quite pretty.
And then everyone voted. Yeah, that's our queen. That's our pirate leader.
She was like,
Banoffee pie.
Banoffee pie. Yeah, I can't remember. Again, I haven't really seen the third one at World's End that much. Again, it's the first two that are just brilliant.
Also just scenes as well, and also the fact that it's still a 12A. Remember at the beginning of the third film when they're hanging the pirates, and then they hang the little boy, and I was thinking, wait a second,
they hang a little boy?
Yeah, because like they were literally. Then that's when they were singing the song about
Yo ho,
that one. Yes,
together.
They're literally hanging them one after the other, and then I think the little boy starts the song, and then he ends up getting hanged, and I'm like,
and they have to put him on a barrel because he's not tall enough.
At the beginning of the film.
Oh, that's sweet. That's cute. They had a little barrel flicker. See, that way it's inclusive. Everyone can be hanged. Yeah, even the kids. Bloody hell, that is really dark, actually. Yeah, borderline. Because it's like certain movies. For example, The Batman. That was a 15. Have you seen The Batman?
Yeah.
You know, Robert Pattinson. So hot. But you know, even Christopher Nolan's Batmans were 12As, and like you at least see something like Harvey Two-Face, like half his face burns off, and you're just looking at him like he looks like a pepperami. Like seriously, and that's still a 12A. I was surprised that they got away with that. And then you know, the Batman 15. I remember I went to the cinema with a friend, a mutual friend actually, India. Shout out to India, big up. She, I by the ticket office, some kids got turned away. They literally had printed out this VUE cinema, printed out pieces of paper saying, by the way, the Batman's a 15. We'll turn away any under 15s because it was happening a lot because it's a kids movie, you know, a kids. It's a comic book, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Like they did start off like for kids, but then I think one thing they learned is like when they then grow up, you then have to like age them up to the comics that they're
Harry
watching.
Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. I wonder if they bring out any more like Fantastic Beasts movies, are they going to take a turn to the 15 as well?
Oh gosh.
Like sorcerers getting killed in a Triwizard tournament by like dragons, like literally being gutted in front of everyone. That would be cool.
And like the weird thing was, my brother told me the first Avengers movie is based on the original comic that brought the Avengers together. And guess what Loki was trying to steal in the original comics based in the 60s? Guess.
Based in the 60s?
Yeah.
Limelight.
Nuclear weapons.
A train.
To be fair, train tickets are very expensive even with a rail card.
Southern Rail, yeah. Yeah, if there's a Southern Rail train, I'll support him.
The next stop is Loki's plotting and scheming.
Ragnarok, yeah. Why?
I think maybe it might have had like gold on it, so you just wanted to steal gold. But then when you think about Loki now, it's like, why would he bother? But then it just shows like how things have changed in comic books, like from stealing a train to killing mass murder of billions
genocide,
of beings all over the galaxy.
Yeah, things have got a bit darker, haven't they?
Well, like films like think that we want everything to be incrementally bigger every time, and that's simply not the case.
Yeah.
Like I kind of like small dramas rather than mass death.
Like what's your creme de la creme of TV and movies?
Well, an example I would say is like Doctor Who, because at the time when their monsters were like, you know, extras wrapped up in bubble wrap, and we were all like, ooh, like that was it. You know, you're invested. I was sprinting home to watch those, but then now they've got all the budget in the world, and I just don't care. You know,
Really? What you appreciate when they make more with so little?
Yeah, because when they're like, "Oh, the universe is at stake," I'm like, "Well, wasn't the universe at stake last Tuesday?" You know, it just doesn't. It loses its tang. You know.
Yeah. And like even to like your Doctor Who point, I think because they didn't have the budget, the storyline had to be better.
So true.
And like the way that they always put it, like, you know, always at Doctor Who, at the end of the season, something big has to happen. But the way that they did with like Christopher Eccleston and also with
David Tennant.
David Tennant was
who's coming back as Doctor Who apparently.
Like, I heard that, which is weird because like, is it going to be that he goes back to a previous version of himself, or it's set in the past?
I think it's it's present day because I was on the set.
You were. Wait, was that when you were in the toilets dressed up as an? Oh, that was something else. Okay.
He's talking about I had to make out with an extra in the toilets, but that's for something else. That wasn't for Doctor Who.
That was
we've got a hidden actor here.
With a cyborg in the toilets. No, that was a different thing. No, I was being an extra for the next series. It was like present day.
Did you see David Tennant? Oh, you can't say anything. Okay.
Well, I mean, I did. No, actually, because there was loads of people. No, because they've announced that like Donna and David Tennant. Wait, one was a character name, one was an actor name. There, Donna and the Doctor they're both together. They're coming back.
Ooh, you heard it here. Probably gonna get sued.
You'll see my bloodshot eyeballs in the background because it's 6 a.m. I'm filming at night. So
oh my goodness!
Look out for that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Was that like extra work, or were you titled?
Extra.
Being an extra is so strange, isn't it?
It's really.
Have you ever like been an extra or like just participated in like a
once,
film? Yeah,
once. It was like a low budget film. it was called like a legacy film with like Noel Clarke, based on like these group of teens who wanted to like have a rave at a club. It was a Universal film, like select cinemas, and like you realize like how piss taking it is. Like I was like in 30 minutes of the film, and they're like, I go like watch the film, and then I'm just like in the last 3 seconds, and I'm like, so wait, I was there since 6 a.m. until like 10 p.m. and I'm only shown for 3 seconds. Like they pan away from the film, pan away from the screen, and like everyone's dancing at the end of the club, and then I'm like, I can literally just see my like green hoodie, but that's it. And I'm like, so literally, I did all of that for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're famous now. That's your 3 seconds of fame, bro.
You can't wear that green hoodie out anymore, can you?
Yeah.
It's like Cheryl Cole, and she's like, slowly but surely you can't go to Tesco in your dressing gown and get milk. You're feeling like that.
What analogy was that?
Cheryl Cole, Fernandez Massini's, she's oh, the squeaky chair's out. A Morgan squeaky laugh, you know you've transcended to a level. He's gone.
Ooh, okay. Composure.
Yeah.
Part of the ship, part of the crew.
Well, yeah. Oh, we were talking about pirates. Weren't we?
Ah, well, no, it's fine.
Well,
Bored of that now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with like extring is like, you then realize how they make things, and then you can't unsee them. Like, for example, if they're filming a club scene and there's any kind of dialogue in it, then they don't play music when people are dancing, so they're dancing in silence.
Did
you have to do that?
Yeah. And the weird thing is that they have, one of the things that they did was they had a rapper to do the song in the film, but it was different from the actual song that we danced to. So we danced to Tom Ford, a Jay-Z song, and then they brought this like random song that you've never heard of that they play in the films. And then you're like, oh, okay. So when they're actually having dance scenes and the music's playing,
it's not to the actual
It's not
song.
actual to that song, because no one knows what that song is. It's actually to a chart song, but they can't use it because they don't have the rights.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. This is why I can't dance, because I just base all my dance moves off what I see in movies, and it's just not the right. It's not the right move to the right song. Yeah, I know. I blame everyone but myself.
But a fun game is always to watch the extras in films. There's always one overzealous extra.
Yeah,
where
he's
the
like-
director's like, guys, just like talk about, or where did you get your jeans from? And they're doing some kind of like dramatic arm display.
Or there's this one idiot who's just looking at the camera.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was an extra in actually an Indonesian movie that was filming near us. Yeah. Didn't pay us in the end, mofos. But I'm pretty sure I was looking at the camera at one point.
That's what
Maybe that's why I did that.
like scratch him off the payroll. Don't want to see that man's eyeballs ever again.
In fact, I wasn't even invited. I just wandered on set.
Got a few tinnies, and then you were like, oh, cameras.
So, bring it back. Okay.
Sorry they didn't pay you.
Oh, yeah, I heard that's a problem in the industry. Shout out to all the extras out there, to all the side men and side women. So, bringing it back to Pirates of the Caribbean, any last thoughts we have on the series before we wrap up? Series of movies, I mean.
I would say if they're going to bring it back for a 6th film, make it quality. Like, there's no point of like bringing it back just to milk it, because
That's not good enough.
like we've seen enough like Fast and Furious films that it's like literally milking the brand to a stage that you're like, does it actually make sense? Like having like submarines, and you're like, wait, it's Fast and Furious with in one of the films, literally they're on ice fleeing from a submarine which has launched a missile at them. And I'm like, but this is like, I watched the first Fast and Furious, which was about cars.
It's serious,
and like now, and it was, and the second one was also serious, and like each movie it just gets worse and worse and worse. That they're driving from in a Arctic region from a nuclear submarine that's just launched a missile at them, and they're driving away from it. I'm like,
on ice, I presume.
Yeah, and I'm like, when did this turn into a James Bond Mission Impossible film?
But I think that's the thing, is transformed from like a wannabe serious car movie about racing to like the most recent one. They literally fly into space. They literally strap rockets onto their car and fly into space in a specially made car, like a car, not a rocket ship, not a spaceship. I think it's like a deliberate B movie, and I kind of enjoy it. Like me and Ben, surprisingly of all people, actually love Fast and Furious.
Of Benedict?
Yeah, literally, like
Shout out to
the most
Benedict.
refined person I know in my neighborhood. But yeah, we just love Fast and Furious because we know it's trash.
I cannot imagine this man watching Fast and
Yeah,
Furious.
please watch it with us. We all have a viewing party.
What I appreciate about Fast and Furious is the acting.
The extras.
Yeah, I call it the extras. They blew all the budget on the extras.
Okay, that's a good point. Very well made point, actually. Yeah, let's try something different and do it well. Esther, any last thoughts on the Pirates of the Caribbean series?
Yeah, I feel like people aren't sure where to classify it. Like if it's a high quality film or if it's a bit of trash. It's like it's
Wait, Fast and Furious or Pirates of the Caribbean?
Oh no, I haven't even seen Fast and Furious.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, no, with Pirates of the Caribbean, yeah, I think it's so interesting. Like some people live and die by it being like the best thing ever made. Then some people think it's trashy. But like, I think it's so formative for so many people. Like I remember buying it on VHS from the library.
Oh my God, yeah, it wasn't the video days, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, bloody
Yeah.
And I watched it like, I know I had to return it in a couple of days. So I watched the bejesus out of that VHS. Like I didn't leave my room for days, and then I feel like I don't know. So I can't. It's hard to critique because yeah, it's hard to critique it because like I don't think I can analyze it just because of how many times I watched it in like formative years. It feels like also I was trying to like understand my identity at that time. I was kind of wanting to be a tomboy, realised I was becoming a woman, and I feel like the pirates in Pirates of the Caribbean are very much a combination of like androgyny, but then they also wear like makeup and
Yeah,
boobs
yeah,
and,
like Captain
flouncy
Jack, yeah.
shirts and all of that. So I was like, I want to be like that.
Yeah, no,
That's fun.
yeah, because essentially they were like, even like back then, they were like challenging societal norms and dressing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like the eyeliner. Although, did they wear eyeliner? Like, did gentlemen in like royal palaces wear eyeliner?
Yeah, they were shopping in boots. Like,
Yeah,
They did wear makeup, like they would like put like white powder on themselves to
Yeah.
make them look more
And
pale.
rouge their cheeks,
The fake
yeah.
like huge wigs they would wear as well.
God, definitely. I'd love to wander around the Seven Sisters Road or Tottenham just dressed as that, just to see like how people would react. Just pretend I'm taking like a time machine. Okay, but that's really beautiful. Actually, it sounds like Pirates of the Caribbean. It was actually quite touching for you in an emotional way that applied to your own life. Oh, vibes.
as you can see in my children's pirate hat.
Yeah,
It's so deformed.
just like you, Esther. Just like you, honey.
Yeah.
Just like you. Well, I think that's all we have time for, folks. I've got to admit, I was a bit nervous about this one because I hadn't really done that much research and I asked at the beginning, so how much do you guys know actually about pirates? And we were like, oh. But we've managed to do it. We didn't detour too much. This is actually one of the few episodes where we actually haven't detoured that much. So surprisingly, that worked out quite well. Good work, team.
Oh, to stop you there, there are also pirates in Star Wars as well. So just a further detour for all of us there. So we can say that we've mentioned Star Wars in this
Kanji
episode.
Club and stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't forget about the space pirates. Well, actually, that will be the next golden age of piracy when mankind goes to the stars. Finally, we'll have pirates in space. That'd be cool.
Han Solo, I'd never realised he's a pirate, isn't he?
We're a smuggler, but isn't that a
But
pirate?
pirates are smugglers, yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, he's a pirate. Ew.
Oh, I thought I liked Harrison Ford.
Captain Han Solo, part of the ship, part of the crew. So, everyone, to our audience and the billions of viewers out there through our audience, that was convoluted. Thank you for watching. If you want to subscribe, please do, or click the notification bar just to find out when our next episode is on. We have a Patreon as well. If you'd love to donate, that will go into our treasure chest, which we'll bury with a map with X marks the spot on it somewhere.
Cool.
Probably in the Caribbean. We'll let you know. And if you want to come on as one of our guest hosts, as my dear friend Esther has, you're more than welcome to, because to be honest, at the moment, it feels a bit like nepotism. I think I need to bring on some strangers or bring on someone Josh wants to come on.
Zimmer, if you're listening, I'm keeping your seat warm.
He knows, don't worry. I've been writing to him intensely. But yeah, I don't know, maybe Doctor Who at some point would be a good one to talk about.
Yeah.
I would like that. That would be a good vibe. I don't really like Doctor Who, but I'd be keen to hear what you two have to say.
Also, Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, oh, yes, definitely.
Stay tuned. Wallagrom.
The youth fear.
Okay, that's enough of that. I'm shutting this down. That's right. How dare you? Esther's banned from coming on this again. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye
Thanks for
forever.
listening.